Hi, Santiago here. Let's learn how we can get in an error-solving journey while we learn modeling in Grasshopper for complete beginners. Let's do this. First of all, don't forget always to open the Rhino file and the Grasshopper file. It's always useful to have both, and if you miss one of them, maybe you will get lost in all the process. When you open the Grasshopper, you will see that we have everything configured, but I really advise you to do step by step so you can understand which is the relevance of each component in this process, because each one is crucial, and with just missing one, you can get really lost in the process in modeling in Grasshopper. So let's start with it. First of all, we need a circle base. We place a circle component. And in this case, we can make it in the curve tab primitive group. We place the circle, and after that, we put a number slider, maybe from 0 to 50, and we connect to the radius. And in this case, the plane and the base of the circle is the center, the point 0.0.0 of the project. So for us, works fine. We start to add the number slider value, and we can see we are creating our circle. After that, we need to divide the curve. We place divide curve, or we go to the curve tab, division, and put divide curve. We place the circle in the curve, the circle output in the curve input, and we need also to add a number slicer. Maybe we can copy and paste the one that we have made before, and we connect it to the count input. You can see here we have different dots that change if the number slider decrease or increase, and that are the amount of squares we want to make. After that, we're going to put Perp Frames. In this case, Perp Frames is placed on division Perp Frames. We connect the circle output in the curve input and the points that we create in the divide curve in the count output. You can see here the Perp Frames are placed near the points that we have made. And now we want to make our box. For that, we go to Surface, Primitive, and Center Box. We place it. We want to make the box first. So we add 3 number sliders, maybe from 0 to 5.0. We copy and paste them. And we place, for example, for the length, we can change. We connect it to the X input. To the height, we connect it to the Y input. And for the width, we connect it to the Z input. This base can be confused because you will think the height is in the Z input. But in this case, the perp frames are transversal of the circle axis. So this change makes us to configure differently these elements. After that, we just connect the frames output of perp frames and connect it to the base. Let's start making our circle, our squares, and you can see now that they are working fine. The only thing that happens, if you see, for example, is that the cubes are in the middle of the project plane. And that happens because the center box makes the form from the center to the axis. So the center, it's maybe the double of what the measure that we're putting here. So we want to move it a little bit up. So we add a move component. In these ones we can find it in transform, Euclidean move. We connect the box to the geometry, and let's add a unit set that are in the vector. We connect the Y, and we connect the output unit vector to the motion input. And you can see if we hide, we Control Q, that the cubes were placed in the surface of the model. But let's take a look a little bit to the final model. You will think it's fine, but you can see that the red of the model is really intense. It has not so much opacity as the common ones that we already saw before. And if you take a look in the frames output, you can see that we have 598 values. That's a lot. We are not creating so much. We are creating just 23 elements, so it doesn't make sense that the result is like this. What do we do here? We just copy and paste it, and let's change just one component and see how much does it influence the process. No, we don't put Perp Frames, but Perp Frame. In this case, we go to the Curve tab, and not in the division group, but the analysis group. You can see the difference here. We just place the Perp Frame, we connect the circle to the curve input and the parameters of the divide curve to the parameters input. Let's delete these Perp Frames, and let's connect the frame output to the base input of the center box. Let's hide the components of the last exercise, of the last part of the exercise, and let's see how now the cubes have the opacity that usually has. And if we place the cursor here, you can see we have 23 elements. That is exactly the ones that we're making. So we are making a proper model that's not going to be a problem after we bake it or we want to reprint it. We are making the information that we have. We are not giving Grasshopper more information than the one that we want it to give us. Well, I can explain it a little bit, but I asked ChatGPT to help me to explain the difference between how does this work and this one not. And the definition is that the Perp Frames generates a sequence of perpendicular planes along the curve, ideal for evenly spaced sections or oriented geometry. It can produce many results if least structure don't match, while the Perp Frames create one plane per given parameter, keeping a clean one-to-one relation with the input list. I hope you get a little bit in the feeling of how sometimes Grasshopper can be a dead end, or you can find like a single problem that complicates all the process, and if you take a look, you can find the solution on any problem that you have in Grasshopper. I hope you learned a lot in here. I hope you are starting to like Grasshopper as much as I do, and I will see you in the next video.